It says recording.
Yep.
Good morning and welcome to the Regulatory Functions Board. This is the fourth meeting of the board that has been held remotely, and I must also confirm that it is being recorded. During the meeting, members will consider to resolve to exclude the press and public from the meeting during consideration of items of business where it is likely, in view of the nature of the business to be transacted, that if members of the press and public were present, there would be disclosure to them of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of part 1 of Schedule 7A of the Local Government Scotland Act 1973. If this is agreed by members, then the recording of the meeting will be stopped and will only be restarted when the board is considering matters which will not disclose exempt information. As you know, we're not able to hold meetings in public at our usual location due to the government guidance on public health measures to tackle the COVID-19 emergency. Therefore, it's important that we take those steps available to us to make proceedings of this board open to scrutiny, not only by the public, but also by all other elected members. And I can advise that the recording of this meeting will be available to watch on Renfrewshire Council's website following the meeting. Although most members of the board are familiar with the basic rules to be followed for a meeting held remotely, to ensure that the meeting proceeds efficiently, there are a couple of additional points that I need to bring to your attention. And these are, it's even more important when meetings are being recorded that it is only the person who's speaking who has their microphone on. This is because on the recording, if the noise from another microphone is picked up, the picture on the recording may move to that source and detract from the speaker. For the same reason, it is important that there's a short pause between speakers to enable the camera to adjust to the new speaker. And the content of the show conversation instant message sent on the Teams system will be shown on the recording. Any members accessing by phone should also put their phones on mute when not addressing the meeting. And before moving on to the agenda, can I ask the clerk to do a roll call of the members so it is clear who's present on the recording?
Yes, Convener, we've got Councillor Audrey Doig, Councillor Devine, Councillor Strang, Councillor McNaughton, Councillor Hughes, Councillor Mackay, Councillor Steele and Councillor Rodden.
Okay, thank you. And apologies?
None intimated, Convener.
Councillor McEwen had indicated to me she wouldn't be able to attend. We could record that.
Right.
Any declarations of interest? None noted. We'll move on to item 1 on the agenda, which is a grant of a second-hand dealer's licence and personal appearance. Douglas, could you introduce this?
Thank you, Convener. Yes, the first application is for grant of a second-hand dealer's licence. Ramsden's Financial Limited have been asked to appear, and I think we have Mr. Michael Wilson and Mr. Pete Kenyon here today for this item. Just to explain, Convener, this is an application. There is no adverse comment received, but Ramsden's have asked that one of the standard conditions for second-hand dealer's licence is not applied, and that's the one that says that records will be held effectively in paper format. They're seeking to hold the records in electronic format.
Okay, thank you. Are both gentlemen introduced to the meeting yet?
That's them coming in now, Convener.
Okay. Mr. Wilson and Mr. Kenyon, this is Councillor McNaughton and Convener. Can you both confirm you can hear me?
I can hear you, thanks, Wilson, and Peter is in the room as well.
Okay, thank you. Right, if I could ask everyone just to keep their microphone muted unless you're actually speaking, thanks. Douglas?
Thanks, Convener. Just to confirm, this is an application by Ramsden's Financial Limited for grant of a second-hand dealer's licence. There are no adverse comments to the application. However, Ramsden's have asked that one of the council's standard conditions is not attached to any licence that might be granted here, and that is the one that requires effectively records to be kept in paper form. They're seeking to hold equivalent records in electronic form. So it really is just a matter, convener, to hear today as to why Ramsden should be an exception to that standard condition.
Okay, thank you, Douglas. Mr. Wilson or Mr. Kenyon, whoever chooses, would you like to address the board in support of your application?
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Wilson. Yeah, we have quite a comprehensive computer system that we have, and our existing license.
Can I stop?
Sorry,
Mr. Wilson, I think it's you who's speaking.
Yes.
You're inaudible, I'm afraid, from your the microphone. It's not. We can't hear what you're saying. Would you like to try and adjust something, or maybe Mr. Kenyon could address the meeting?
Hi, it's Peter Kenyon.
Yes, Mr.
Yep.
Kenyon, you carry on. We can hear you fine.
Hi. The reason that we think we should be allowed the variation is 8 Moss Street across the road has the variation, our other shop in Paisley, but we have quite an extensive computer system that records all the details of the transaction, records all the details of the customer and the ID that we've taken. It's all backed up to 3 different locations. It's integrated into our financial cash book. There's more data held than what would be held in a book. It's just far easier. It's far easier for any of the police to search on a name than to try and turn pages. You haven't got vagaries of handwriting. And obviously, it's a more modern way of doing it.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Kenyon. Yes, we have had similar applications in the past. I think members' concerns have been around security, and presumably you can confirm, reassure us of the security of your systems. And just before I bring you back in, if any members want to ask a question, if you type a Q into the box, I'll bring you in. Mr. Kenyon.
Hi, yes, everything is encrypted at rest and everything is encrypted in transit. So it's a central system. It's a customer-centric, centrally system where each branch dial in, if you like, connect in to a central database. All the servers are held at Zen Internet in Rochdale. They've all got power backup. They've all got the encryption that you would expect an organisation of our size to have.
Okay. Do any members wish to come in? No questions. I think it seems fairly straightforward. There are no adverse comments from the police or officers of concern. So I think on that basis, I would move that we proceed to grant the second-hand dealer's licence with this variation. The members agreed? Take that as unanimous agreement. Douglas?
Thank you, convener. Yes, just to confirm, Mr. Kenyon, Mr. Wilson, your application's been granted and we'll get you your licence out as soon as possible.
Thanks very much. Thanks, bye.
Thank you very much for your attendance. I think we could vary the items on the agenda. Next item in public would be item 4. Sorry, item 4. It's a site. We need a non-site.
I think it would be item 6 or 7.
Item 6. Okay, if we could adjust the agenda and move to item 6, which is the renewal of late hours catering licence. Douglas?
Thank you, convener. Yes, this is an application for renewal of a later catering licence by DSR Restaurants Limited. It's the McDonald's drive-through in Braehead, and effectively they're seeking the same as they've got before, and which has been granted as an exception to policy with board in the past. So it's been put on as an on-site, given there's no adverse comment to the application.
Okay, do any members have any questions? I think it seems fairly straightforward. I would move that we grant this. Members agreed? Okay, thank you. That deals with item 6. And I think we can move to item 7, which is a report which came at the back of your agenda on the applications for HMO licences which were approved under delegated authority. Douglas?
Thank you, convener. I don't really have much to say to speak to this report. It's fairly straightforward. Members may remember the emergency board had made a decision in April at a time that we were obviously getting grips to the new normal, and had made a decision that HMO licences could be granted under delegated powers by officers, but in consultation with 3 board members. That's the convener plus convener or deputy convener, plus 1 from the 2 other political groups represented in the board. And really the report simply is, as we said we would, advising the board that 2 HMOs were granted under that procedure, and those are detailed at paragraphs 3.3.1 to 332 of the report.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on this? Can I say that I was kept fully informed by Douglas at the time and is fully supportive of the delegated decisions in this respect. So we note that report, which deals with item 7, which then lets us return to the agenda. And at this stage, I would move that we resolve to exclude the press and public from the meeting during consideration of items 2 and 3, as it's likely that, in view of the nature of the business to be transacted, that if members of the press and public are present, there could be disclosure to them of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3 of part 1 of Schedule 7A of the Local Government Scotland Act 1973. Okay, is that agreed? It's agreed unanimously. Could we stop the recording, please?